just for context, we're going to play a little song from like a rock and roll musical we're working on called The Reverend Television's Whiz Bang. Sort of second act, so it's in the middle of the story where this guy's taken in by a snake oil salesman looking for sort of salvation and realize he's been duped and he's got to get out. And spoiler alert, it's all about love. Feel that love, 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 feel that love. Curtains called and the name's been drawn and that shadows rising on that hill. Dice been rolled and now you've been told that the show's about to begin. Hear them growl, hunt you down, keep you on the edge of a lie. When them hounds, they did hunt me down, pin my shoulders right on the ground. In their eyes, something I did see. Pain was staring right back at me, and it said, this ain't real. It's all inside of your head. I got this feeling. Something keeps me up at night and nothing's got me satisfied at all. Big light, big sound, feet are running when you hit the ground. Lost cause, lost soul, everybody needs to find their home. From up above came on down and I feel that love, feel that love, feel that love, feel that love, feel that love. Do you feel that love, feel that love, feel that love, feel that love. This is real. Get outside of your head. I got this feeling. Something keeps me up at night and nothing's got me satisfied at all.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Jeremy. Let's give him another round of applause. for those who follow me on Instagram, they might have recognized these gentlemen because Tim is my person and Jeremy is his nephew, and I often get to experience this in my living room these days. So, good Creative Mornings, everyone. I'm Tina Roth-Eisenberg. I'm the founder of Creative Mornings and your New York City chapter host, and thank you. I'm welcoming you today from the ancestral land of the Lenape people, and we here at Creative Mornings want to recognize the significance of New York City and Brooklyn for Lenape people past and present. And I want to give a big warm hello to Autumn Thomas, who is generously offering to sign our event today again. Autumn, you're wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And wow, what an absolute joy to be back at L'Alliance. I sleep really well when we're hosting here because the team L'Alliance is just absolutely wonderful and so on point. And in case you're new to this space, L'Alliance is a highly respected educational, cultural, and arts institution where you can take, as you probably guessed, French language lessons, and you can also immerse yourself in world-class cultural programming. For example, you can experience the Crossing the Line Festival right now. It's a bold, boundary-pushing celebration of art, uniting film, dance, theater, visual work, and performance from artists across the globe. And L'Alliance has a weekly film series screening classic films, recent restorations, and new releases from around the French-speaking world. And they asked me to tell you that you shouldn't miss the epic Halloween party after the New York premiere of Her Will Be Done on October 31st. We will send you these in the follow-up email, and I urge you to check out their calendar of events so you can check out their beautifully curated programming. And a big thank you to the team of Alliance for making these events just such a pleasure to host here. So thank you. Every month, we ask a member of the audience to read our manifesto, just to remind us of our values here at Creative Mornings and why we do what we do. And I am so excited about the person who is doing us the honor today to introduce her. It's Esmeret Burr-Lumax. She's the founder and CEO of One Love Community Fridge. And she's, oh yes, right? You know her? Yay! She just won the Champions of Change Awards of 2025. And I just want to tell you why, because she's so remarkable. During the pandemic, Esmeret realized that families were going hungry while the farmers were destroying produce. And so she set up what is now called One Love Community Fridge. And rather than setting up a soup kitchen, she wanted to provide the tools and the dignity for people to feed themselves. She installed, together with her teenage daughters, a fridge in Brooklyn, and now there are 40 in New York City. She's expanding to Seattle, Los Angeles, Baltimore, and Atlanta. She's an absolute force and has a big, giant communal heart. Esmeret, thank you for reading us the manifesto.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's such an honor to be here amongst all of you. And thank you, Tina, and the whole Creative Mornings community. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, and hugs and high fives, especially the hugs. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in their neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. Thank you.
All right, raise of hands. Who was brave enough to put their name into the 30-second pitch wheel? So many of you. Exa.
All right, y'all. Today we have our selected pitchers. If I call your name, please just find me at the corner of the stage over here around the Q&A time, or like right after it. We have Paulette, Jordan, I don't have last names, but that's what we got, Kim Macharia, and Bill Schomburg. those are our 30-second pictures. Find me here at the end. Reminder that you have only 30 seconds, and I will come at you with the xylophone if you go over it. So.
The very intimidating xylophone. All right. By raise of hands, who here will consider themselves a Creative Mornings OG? Oh, that's more hands than I thought. And you're wondering, why is she asking us that? Because tomorrow is our 17th birthday. And I'm just going to take you a bit on memory lane right now. And this is October 11th, 2008. This was our very first event ever. And
Where was it?
it was at an agency called Huge, which was at the time not huge, but then they became huge. My favorite part of that morning was, I have to brag for a second, I interviewed at Huge when there were 4 people, and they didn't hire me. And then after this event, the founder came up to me and goes, Tina, this is cool. I was like, right? And I said, I interviewed here. And he goes, I didn't hire you? And I was like, no. And then he walked away and I heard him say, shit. Okay, I was not planning on telling this story, but here we are, going off script. But I was going through the photos, the photo archive, and I was laughing. Because for those of you who have recently joined, you think these events have always been fancy and big. But no, this was literally one of the worst moments. I mean, this agency invited us to host us, and then I walked in, and nobody was there. And eventually I started pushing furniture around, and I was like, I'm just gonna do this now. And I carried the coffee from the deli across the street. I had no volunteers. So I just want to tell you, it was very joyful and scrappy in the beginning. And for the first 2 years, I only ran this in New York City. And I never thought I would grow beyond New York City. It was never the plan. But the events got bigger. And then this was the event where I thought I peaked. This is it. We had 84 people. Koi Vin, the design director of the New York Times, spoke. And I thought, this is it. It never is going to get bigger and better. Not realizing that at some point we would have 750 people at the Cooper Union for Oliver Jeffers. And the breakfast situation was hard there. Nor did I think that we would ever grow. And now we're in 252 cities in over 70 countries. And so much of the Creative Mornings 17-year journey was so fun. For example, the Rainbow Parade, when I asked everyone to dress monochromatically and then we marched through Dumbo with a marching band. Was anyone part of this who's here right here? I see you. Oh, geez, there we go. Or there, we had an indoor garden event with Charles Renfro, the architect. Or there was a dance party at Galapagos. Those were the really early days for Girl Walk All Day by Jacob Krupnik. But then it got a little less fun because 2020 happened and the music stopped playing. And then we were like, what are we going to do now? We're all about face-to-face. I was very stubborn. I was like, I will not do virtual. But then our chapters around the world were showing us the way because they were like, Tina, stop being stubborn. We gotta gather our community. So this was April 2020 with Priya Parker, our very first virtual event, which really became a lifeline for a lot of us in the creative community. Our events were so packed. It was a real joy. And we also created the virtual field trips during the pandemic, and they were a lifeline for so many of you. And to this day, we still offer virtual field trips, between 20 and 30 a month for free. And it's, I consider it a generous peer-to-peer learning university for our community. But then 2021, we brought it back in person, slowly but surely, only with outdoor events. Has anyone been at this one of you who's here? Oh, I see a few of you. It was a beautiful, we all had to like retrain our muscle of being together in community. And we did it. And then one of my personal highlights was this April when at the Timothy Goodman event at Parsons, when I asked the community, stand up if you have ever made a friend at a Creative Mornings event. And this is what I saw. And out of 470 people, 450 were standing and smiling. And then I felt this. I literally didn't know what to do with my feelings. Because you all making friends at our events is pretty much the only metric I personally care about. It's why I started this whole thing, because I moved here in '99 from Switzerland. I didn't know anyone, and I was like, where are my people? And I'm not a super data-driven person, but I do care about one thing only, ROF. You know, return on friendship. If you have a friendship story, please share it with us. My team and I live for it. It's literally our rocket fuel. And nothing makes me happier than when I meet others who, just like me, believe that making friends and being in loving, kind community is the medicine our society needs. And one of these humans is here with us today. It's the remarkable Roxane Harnish. She has changed the trajectory of Creative Mornings in 2024 when she became our first ever patron. Roxane, I don't know where you are, but I just want to thank you and Bill for your continued generosity in supporting Creative Mornings and helping us keep these events free around the world. Her showering us with her radical generosity made it possible for me and my team to build a new way for all of you to connect and make friends. And that's clubs. Clubs are small, hyper-local meetups run entirely by you. And we started clubs on the belief that community is what happens when you do what you love together. And so I'm asking you, what do you love doing? And do you want to build community around it? Because we will fill the room for you. And when I ask people, what do you love doing? Do you want to start a club? They instantly start overthinking. I can see it in their eyes. But then I tell them, it can be as easy as like what Lenny does, getting together to make dumplings, or meet in a park and draw, or watch classic movies together, what Ricardo does. Or Nelson gets you out into new neighborhoods and walk the streets and take photos. Katie gets you to write silently for an hour. You can make time to do creative projects for an hour. Or Jillian just takes us into a park and for her Sun Your Buns picnic in the park. So clubs are really small, they have a cadence, they have a heartbeat, and they allow for depth of connection. And because they happen of all days of the week and all times, you're no longer bound to just make friends on a Friday morning a month. So, as you can tell, we're really excited about clubs. I would love to know, has anyone attended here a club? Ooh, is any one of you a host? I know there's a few hosts here. I love you. Right? Give the host a round of applause. And now I'm going to ask some of you to be really brave. Is any one of you secretly thinking of running a club? Okay, do you want to tell us what it is?
It's show and tell. Where you literally, like you're in preschool, like bring something that's important to you and just tell your story about it.
Would you go? There we go. I saw you raise your hand too. What's your idea?
I was just about to put a calendar reminder in for January 1st to announce my club. So I'm going to maintain the suspense till then.
Okay. I love that you didn't want to A/B test your idea right now, so I respect that. Okay, another one. Who was going to go to that one? Yes. All right. Yes, please. Okay, so this is 17. Every dot on this map represents a chapter run by our generous volunteers around the world, and because of them, 20,000 people get together every month for free over coffee and breakfast. And if you're wondering how are they doing it? Well, it's because of humans like Roxane, of their generosity, because of the venues like L'Alliance, the speakers, the volunteers. It is literally an engine of generosity. And because of our partners as well. And I want to thank 3 of our partners. One of them is our global partner, Adobe. They believe in us. Yes, thank you, Adobe. They deeply believe in us meeting up, in learning from each other, and what I love so much is like they're really pushing their belief as well and showing us how they believe in it, supporting the next generation of creatives. I have been so deeply impressed by what they're building. It's called the Adobe Creative Apprenticeship. It offers mentorship, freelance projects, and job opportunities for aspiring creatives. And I remember how hard it was to start out when I first moved here. So if you're in need of an apprentice, or you could mentor someone, then you can just apply like we did at Creative Mornings and be matched with a pre-vetted young creative. We are so lucky because we got the best one, the most open-hearted human ever. His name is Finn. He's somewhere in here right now. I love this program so much that I made Finn my desk mate, because I remember what it was like to be mentored by someone and have someone who's like 25 years into their career believe in you. So I think we all owe it to this younger generation. So if you have capacity and something to teach, consider applying for the Adobe Creative Apprenticeship. All right, are you glad we're welcoming you with coffee when you come in the morning? I sure am. That is possible because of our local partners. One of them is Harvest. Just like us, they're a New York City-based company, and they're making me think about time. I love quotes, and every time I see a quote that is time-related, I think of them. So this one is from Deepak Chopra. When you're in the field of creativity, you lose track of time. Only the flow exists. So if you think about time, if you have to time track or track your expenses, etc., check out getharvest.com. It's an excellent tool for independent creatives and small businesses. So thank you, Harvest. And then a big, giant thank you for MPB. I love this company so much. They make it worth and easy to sell your used photo or video gear or buy some of it. And if you have an old camera or lens sitting in your drawer, set it free on mpb.com. And every time before these events, I go and check out what they have added to their catalog, because they added, last week, they added over 4,700 new items, which I think it's so impressive. So we here at HQ love MPB. Check them out. All right, now to the main attraction of our event. This October, the global theme in the Creative Mornings universe is soft. It was chosen by our Victoria chapter in British Columbia, Canada, and illustrated by Leah McInnes. And it is my absolute deep honor to introduce Roxane Gay, a longtime contributing opinion writer for the New York Times and the author of Ayiti and Untamed State, the widely praised Bad Feminist, Difficult Women and Hunger. She also wrote The World of Wakanda for Marvel and is currently working across books, television, and film. One of the things I admire most about Roxane is how she leans into discomfort in herself, in culture, in language, and believing that through that friction we grow, learn, and connect. She writes to stay alive, to push us toward empathy, and to keep reminding us that no human is a simple story. Please give a rockstar round of applause for Roxane Gay.
Thank you. Wow. I mean, calm down, calm down. It's a pleasure to be here, and I lost the ability to memorize at some point, so I'm going to read from my iPad. I just am going to be that person. But when Tina mentioned that the theme for this month was soft, I started writing an essay, but I'm not going to read it for you. But it did make me think about my next book, which is a book of writing advice called How to Be Heard. I know. I'm so excited to finish it at some point. And so is my publisher. But I wrote a chapter about how to have a nemesis, because I think that when you're a creative person, you have an active imagination, and part of that imagination should be spent on pettiness. So I'm going to tell you all about my nemesis. In my essay, Bad Feminist, which I wrote much earlier in my career, I said I did not want to be put on a pedestal as a feminist or really as anything, because I understood even then that when you are put on a pedestal, you are frozen in place and time. You're not allowed to move, to grow, to fail. People see you as who you were or who they want you to be when they put you on that pedestal, and they are very resistant to seeing you as who you become. I knew I would, in one way or another, disappoint anyone who once saw fit to elevate me, so I thought it would be good to bypass all of that and just be myself, the best and the worst of me, on solid ground. People put me on a pedestal anyway, and inevitably I have disappointed a great many of those folks, and of course I have disappointed myself. Nemesis was the ancient Greek goddess of retribution. She punished evil deeds, undeserved good fortune, and hubris. Disgusted by his arrogance, Nemesis brought Narcissus to his unfortunate end, punishing him for his vanity by luring him to the water where he fell in love with his own reflection and died because he simply could not look away. Oh, if that could happen to so many of our enemies. The story of Nemesis is compelling because she was inescapable. Her brand of justice was uncompromising. I, however, am not the goddess of retribution. I'm just a writer and a woman. I am too sensitive. I have thin skin. I love having the last word. I am a control freak. I cannot let things go. I take criticism personally. And being on social media offers ample opportunity for me to reveal the worst and softest parts of myself. The nature of being a writer is that I must contend with criticism. When it is constructive, I do eventually try and absorb the criticism and improve my craft. When criticism is less than constructive, I get defensive, I feel attacked. I start to doubt everything I have ever written and everything I will ever write in the future. Social media has done a great many things for writers. It has allowed us to promote our work and that of writers that we enjoy or admire. It has allowed us to interact with readers and fans, but it has also exposed us to people with bad intentions, people who take issue with what we write, how we write, who we are. And there is something about these people who want to tell you that they hate you or that you are mediocre or terrible that cuts very deep. You can read 100 compliments, but what stays with you is that one person named Johnny759 confirming your worst fears about yourself. And like many, I harbor a great many fears about myself. I have 10 nemeses. People who have slighted me in ways both real and imagined, who are now mortal adversaries I must defeat. They are nemeses because a loved one has a crush on them and goes on and on about it just to get under my skin, or because they have a career trajectory I envy, or they are vigorously mediocre, or they have wronged someone I care about, or they have wronged me. For example, the nemesis of my assistant is my nemesis too. One of my nemeses is CrossFit, which feels fairly self-explanatory. Another nemesis is Rachel Maddow, because my wife just loves Maddow. She thinks that Maddow is cute. And at night, I sit in bed with my arms crossed over my chest as she pays keen attention to Maddow's endless deconstruction of whatever the Trump administration is up to on any given day. And there I am, stewing, plotting to get Maddow off the air. There is also my primary nemesis, the person toward whom I direct most of my nemesis-related energy. I cannot disclose the provenance of my disdain, but she smiles too much, she is thriving professionally, and exists to spite me. It is almost too much to bear. There are many famous nemeses, both real and imagined. Batman and the Joker, Superman and Lex Luthor, Professor X and Magneto, Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton, Eve and Villanelle. The most important thing to remember is that the rivalry must be tended to, it must be nurtured. It is an eternal flame, the heat of which can warm you during the darkest of times. An enemy is a nuisance, but a nemesis is someone for whom you harbor an abiding but relentless dislike. A nemesis must be a worthy adversary. It is far too easy for someone completely odious to be a nemesis. For example, people will often ask me if the president is my nemesis, but that would be so beneath me. Envy is certainly part of having a nemesis, but it is not quite jealousy, because generally you and your nemesis are equals in some way, even if you are the only person who believes that to be true. A nemesis can give you purpose, can hone your ambition. What I am saying is that having a nemesis is motivational. I keep track of my nemeses with an app. I'm such a freak. That's what it is. I check in on them on various social media platforms to further stoke my petty feelings. These people largely have no idea I exist. I would never actually do anything to them, but it brings me pleasure to nurture this enmity. I often discuss my nemeses on social media and have been doing so since 2011. Back then, I was tweeting about my Scrabble nemesis, a man I beat during a Scrabble tournament who did not take the loss well. He stormed off, which is just poor sportsmanship, and in the wake of his fury, my first nemesis rose from the ashes of his defeat. At the following tournament, because yes, I am a professional Scrabble player and I am nationally ranked, I began to tweet about our interactions and a vocation was born. In the ensuing years, I have peppered my online conversation with musings about one or more of my nemeses, mostly because it's a fun way to relax. But I'm also deadly serious. On May 18th, 2018, I remarked that my nemesis is having a good year professionally and has clear skin. It's a lot to take. In November of that same year, I said, just checked in on my nemesis, she is still trash. Just so I could assure any interested parties that the fire of my dislike continued to burn bright. On January 12th, 2019, I was really feeling some kind of way, noting that my nemesis is busy being beautiful and successful. That's okay. I am busy plotting and implementing her downfall. It is a multi-year plan, but I am putting in the time. I'm fine. Sometimes I put a harmless but effective curse on my nemesis, like, I hope the sun is very bright and she can't find her sunglasses. I experience a frisson of excitement when I add a new nemesis to the rotation. I also believe that the nemesis of my friend is my enemy, so anytime a friend shares news of a new nemesis, I add them to the list. Much to my surprise, many of my online followers have become invested in the saga of my nemesis. My agent has emailed me asking me to reveal the identity of my primary nemesis. Interviewers will ask if I will reveal the identities of these people. Journalists have written articles about this absurd little pastime of mine. It just isn't that deep. One publication referred to me as the Queen of Nemesis Twitter, which was a lot, but it was a very different time given what Twitter has become. The argument could certainly be made that there is nothing healthy or productive about having nemesis. People have told me that it's silly, petty, and unnecessary, but lots of hobbies could be termed as such. Oftentimes, when I discuss my nemesis online, people ask me why I'm dwelling on negativity, but it does not feel negative to have nemesis. It's quietly thrilling. It makes my life feel a little bigger than it is. It makes me feel like I have a little more control than I do. And it is a form of release. No one is harmed by petty social media posts or inconsiderate things about my anonymous nemesis. This nurturing of nemesis is not something that dominates any part of my life. I have met at least one of my nemesis, and I was perfectly pleasant during the conversation. There is photographic evidence. As someone who has been on the internet since 1992, I believe what happens online is as real as the things that happen in the physical world. The friendships I have developed with people I met online are real. The amity we share is real. Though I never have used any of the dating apps or websites, I have met several romantic partners via the internet. When I argue with someone online, I'm actually frustrated or irritated or angry. Those feelings, bless you, don't magically dissipate when I step away from the computer or look away from my phone, though they are put in proper perspective when I'm offline. Young writers ask me if they need to be on social media to have a successful career, and the answer is of course not. But that social media, when used well, can be greatly beneficial to a career. But there is a price to pay for that beneficence. The further you are from being a heterosexual, white, middle-class, able-bodied man, the higher the price you pay. You have to decide if you are willing to pay that price and if you are able to pay that price. When I first started using social media, I was in graduate school in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. I was living in a town of about 4,000 people. I was studying rhetoric and technical communication and teaching for the first time and adjusting to going from the middle of the country to the edge of nowhere. I wanted to feel connected to the world in some small way. I wanted to talk to other writers. I wanted to feel like part of something without actually having to be physically a part of something. I could be shy and awkward, but no one would ever know because I had a facility with language and the distance or perhaps anonymity of keyboard and screen. I could hide in plain sight, which is something I've been doing since I first started using the internet. Back in the early 90s, most of us who were online were pretending in some form or fashion. We were fabulists. This was before people freely exchanged pictures and the whole truth of themselves. We were just names and words. Most of the time we were talking dirty to one another. We were pretending to be more attractive and more interesting and more adventurous than we really were. I don't know that any of us knew what the internet would become, how it would become such a fundamental part of a privileged life. And because we didn't know what it would become, we spent every day online like it might be our only day online. We developed passionate connections with strangers from all around the world. We shared highly curated versions of ourselves, but not in the Instagram sense. Some people grew out of that way of being online, started being more honest, more authentic. The artifice fell away. We began using our real pictures, our real names. But some people never grew out of that way of being online. The internet was a virtual playground where they could be anyone they wanted, say anything they wanted without consequence. A lot of the tensions that arise from online interactions exist because people with different ethics around how to be online are forced to share all of these virtual spaces, even though we don't all play by the same rules. I understand that way of being online, where you can say terrible things to strangers, racist, sexist, homophobic things that you wouldn't dare say to someone's face. I understand the rush these people must feel when they revel in cruelty, in embracing the taboo and unacceptable. It makes me consider how I would behave if there were no consequences for my actions. I won't pretend I would be perfect, but I do know I wouldn't be mindlessly cruel. I am too sensitive online, and sometimes even when people approach me innocuously, I overreact. I attack before I'm attacked. And then I feel terrible because that's not who I am, not really. Sometimes I apologize for my behavior, sometimes I don't. And when I don't, I tell myself it's fine. I tell myself that given all of the harassment I tolerate, of course I'm defensive. And then a troll says something cruel and I feel justified in being too sensitive and too soft and overly prickly. It's a vicious cycle. Trolls are generally banal. I engage with trolls the way a predator toys with its prey. They tell me things I already know, or they unwittingly reveal that they hate what they hate most in themselves. A common entreaty of theirs is that I'm fat, which is not new information. I wrote a whole book about it. They tell me I'm ugly or I'm unhealthy or that I'm going to die alone, and none of these things are true. They call me a snowflake or a libtard. They simply write #MAGA. They spew racial epithets. They call me a dyke, which, okay. They make fun of my last name, which is so hilariously immature and dull. Children have been making fun of my last name since around 1982. They search through my old tweets, some of which certainly are lousy, but nothing criminal. And then they offer them up as evidence of what I'm not entirely sure. Then they try to get me to debate them, as if I'm on social media simply to sit around talking with lonely men about the news of the day. I deserve a better class of interlocutor. It's just all so absurd. I recognize this, but still, sometimes I cannot resist engaging. And then followers will say, don't feed the trolls, or they will say, bot. And that is even more grating because I've been online for 35 years. I'm clear on who or what I'm dealing with. I'm clear on the why of it. I often liken trolls, and the lesser of my critics, I call it clapping back, and I consider it like t-ball, that tempered version of youth baseball where children swing their bats at a ball nestled gently on a stand instead of having to try and hit a pitch. It doesn't require much aim or coordination, but it teaches children the fundamentals of baseball. The trolls, with all their absurd banality, are the ball. They're waiting for me. They are an easy target, low-hanging fruit, and I am a child with a very big bat and very good aim. The trolls often make it even easier because they cannot spell or use punctuation. They tend to be wrong, and loudly so. I can simply point out their weaknesses or say something clever, or I can say something mean, generally attacking their intelligence, masculinity, or dim prospects. I enjoy throwing in phrases like your mom's Cheeto-crusted basement, or using some of my favorite vocabulary words in an especially cutting manner. If someone steps to me disrespectfully, I want to serve that disrespect right back. If they get out of pocket, I'm going to join them right there. It is cathartic, just like talking about my nemesis, but with a little bit more immediacy. I know how futile it is. I know that these people who argue with me don't care about how beautifully I respond. I know I'm probably giving them what they want, attention, and the confirmation that they've drawn blood. I know they aren't going to recognize how poorly they're behaving. They aren't going to apologize. No good comes from tangling with trolls. The truth is, sometimes it just feels good to be mean in this neatly contained way, It feels good to stand up for myself because that largely only happens in online spaces where I have the time and the space to think clearly and say exactly what I want to say, when I want to say it, and how. It feels necessary to highlight the intensity, constancy, and breadth of harassment that Black queer women deal with online. It feels good and righteous to be supported and seen, to be applauded for giving as good as I get. Like most people, I was bullied as a child. I was a loner and quiet and shy. I wore bifocals and even braces. I had wild hair I could not tame. We moved around a lot, so it was difficult to find my people or my place in the world. I was a very easy target. There was nothing particularly tragic or traumatic about this, or I suppose I ran into a far more brutal kind of trouble, and then the bullying became more of a nuisance than anything else. Once, in junior high, I was reading a book on the school bus. I always had my head in a book, and some of my classmates took my book, and they began throwing it from one edge of the bus to the other, laughing as I jumped up trying to catch the book along the arc of its frenetic trajectory. What I remember about that day was how desperate I was to get my book back so I could lose myself once more in the world of the story. I remember how desperate I was for anyone on that bus to take my side. I wondered if my life would always be like that, me yearning and grasping and helpless. When I'm clapping back at trolls, it's like I'm grabbing that book and returning to the haven and the privacy of my words. A better person would have thicker skin. She would be able to ignore the taunting and petty torments of trolls. She would not have nemesis. She would turn the other cheek. She would rise above. But I'm not that better person. I am acting in the spirit of nemesis, exacting the smallest, most inconsequential of retributions. I know I'm indulging my worst impulses. I know I could be better. I choose not to be. The distinction between my trolls and I is that I know I'm no different than them. Thank you. All right, I think we have some time for questions.
Hello, hello. There we go. Roxane,
Yes.
let's do it again. This was so great. Who would like to ask a question to Roxane? There we go. Please stand up, say your name, and be concise.
That's the kiwi. You don't want to be number 11.
Really fun to be first. Hi, I'm Garima. Thank you so much. This is weirdly exactly what I needed to hear today.
Oh, good.
Actually. But I guess my question is I'm kind of on this journey of, we, especially as queer women of color, are not allowed anger.
Yes.
Right? It's something that we're not accustomed to. It feels unnatural, and it feels important, to your point. How do you incorporate anger as an important part of also who you are, while also not letting it, control you and change you as a person?
That's a great question, and it's something I've been thinking a lot about, especially over the past 8 years. I wonder why, but because I'm a feminist and I talk a lot to college students, they often ask, especially the young women, how do I talk about these issues without being angry? And I'm always just like, ma'am, why wouldn't you be angry about the things that we're talking about here? We should be angry about the fact that we have no rights and that we have no freedoms. We do relatively, I know, but it could be worse, but oh my God, that's not the bar. And so I have been trying to think about how do we make anger productive, especially because when you are a woman of a color, a black woman, a brown woman, you're not allowed to be angry. And honestly, people read you as angry all the time. I have resting bitch face. It is just what it is. And it's been this way since I was 0 years old. People would always ask my parents, what's wrong with her? And they're like, she's fine. And I really was, and I really am. So no matter what we do, we're going to be coded as angry. And so I have tried to divest myself of the responsibility of making people comfortable with my anger. And it's a work in progress. But anger can drive you as long as you don't let it consume you. And so you have to figure out where that line is for yourself. It cannot be the only thing driving you. Like, anger drives me, but mostly it's joy that drives me. I know how good my life is. Everyone deserves this level of comfort. Actually, I've been writing about the meme on TikTok, hard wig, soft life. And there are layers to it. There's lots of stuff going on there. But one of the things that always strikes me is, why would we mock Black women who are being loved and who are living a soft and luxurious life? Everyone deserves that. And so for me, I always tell people, yes, I'm angry, but I'm angry because we don't all get to have comfort. We don't all get to have safety. We don't all get to move about the planet freely, not even the country at this point. We don't all get to leave our houses without worrying about kidnapping. And so anger is so healthy, and I wish more people would just embrace it, because there's a difference between anger and violence. And we do tend to make those two things synonymous in our minds. And so you just have to, it's a fine balance, but oh man, embrace it, especially when you're a woman, because gosh, if you're not angry, like, what is happening? Are you not awake, or are you just a billionaire?
Is there someone on the other side that would like to ask a question? Abby would have the mic for you. If not, I have someone here.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm Ari. I just am so curious. Do you have a favorite daily pettience? Like something really petty that you get to do that makes you feel free?
It's so dumb and so embarrassing, but yes, of course. My favorite petty thing to do is to force someone to unfollow me on social media. I just felt it right now. Like, it's so good. It's just so good, because like they, oftentimes, like, especially men on social media are like, the debate me bros. Like, I have a job. No shade, but I do. So I'm not going to debate you, bro. But when they're talking and talking and talking at me, and they're like, I dare you to block me. I'm like, no problem. Challenge accepted. But when you soft block them by blocking them and then unblocking them, they're unfollowed. They unfollow you. They don't know it. I mean, it might as well be my birthday and Christmas and Hanukkah all at once. It's just like, yes. It's glorious. And I highly recommend it, because it's just so passive aggressive. Yep.
It seems to be my side, Abby.
Your
I'm
side
sorry.
is busy.
Hi, I'm Ellie. Once, like 3 years ago, one of my deepest, closest friends told me that she thought that I would be a person who was always yearning and searching and not finding. We're not friends anymore.
Good.
But nemesis, right. But what is your advice for someone who actually took that, what was spoken over them, and now it is their fear?
Yes. She was telling you her fear for herself. And she was projecting it on you for whatever reason. But is that the worst thing in the world? If you're always searching, that means you're always curious. And that you always know that there might be something more. I think the better question is, how can I learn to stay curious and to stay searching, but also feel satisfied with where I'm at? And so I've been working on that, because, and my wife is actually going to do a talk about this soon, about how successful people, ambitious people, are never satisfied. And that sometimes it only lasts a few seconds, that thrill of accomplishment, and then you're like, ugh, what's next? And so one of the things I recommend is just learning how to take some time before you ask what's next. take some time to sit with where you actually are and embrace where you actually are, because you're probably there for a reason. And oftentimes we're searching and searching and searching because we don't know how to be where we are. And now, if where you are sucks, then you want to like move on from it. But most of the time, you're searching because you just think, I'm not enough. I haven't accomplished enough. I haven't done enough. But that's not really true. And you have to really recheck the metrics that you're measuring yourself against and why you feel like you have to be yearning. But don't put that fear. Don't let her put that on you. That's not Miss Seeley's curse. Take it back. Like, reclaim your time. It's a shame that she did that, or whoever they were. But I have found that more often than not, when people make those kinds of really big statements about you, first of all, I'm like, and? But like, why is she concerned with what you are up to personally? But it's really about herself. And may she find a way to stop yearning and searching. That was me being nice.
We have to wrap it up because of time, but can we give another round of applause for Roxane Gay? 30-second pictures, come up front. Can the 30-second pictures come up front?
All right, our 30-second pictures. They are coming down. Reminder, 30 seconds. We will be timing you. And I'm so sorry for anyone I have to interrupt. Okay, yeah, if you want to come, we can have upstairs. Either one. Okay, what? Yeah, come on up, come on up. Okay, a reminder, you don't need to say, like, no introduction. You've got 30 seconds. And if you want to actually come in the middle of the stage, that way you're right in the spotlight. Okay, first we have Paulette. Go for it. Share your contact info and follow.
Oh, how nice. Thank you so much. I'm Paulette. I'm a writer and writing coach. I help people honor the scribbling kiddo who dreamed of being a writer. And I have an event November 6th. It's called Lunch with the Writer You Used to Be. So if you are forced to speak in corporate speak and you forget what you used to sound like and you have lost that private time of just being a writer for you, this is a time we're going to come back and remember those kiddos and honor that dream where you can enjoy. We have a fabulous room called the Marilyn Monroe Room in Midtown Manhattan, and you can find me on Instagram where I post all my rejection letters, including a very nice rejection letter I just got from Roxane Gay a few weeks ago.
All right, next friend, come on up.
Hi, y'all. My name is Kim Asharia, and right now I'm working on this really fun passion project called the Exploration Directory. So I'm creating a set of resources of free and low-cost ways to connect with nature across New York City. The directory is going to be released in April at a really fun launch party where we'll be spotlighting amazing New Yorkers who are making getting out in nature more accessible. Think sailors, surfers, kayakers, farmers, cyclists, all these amazing people who are in my network, but I'm also looking for more people to feature. So if you know some awesome organizations that I should put in the directory, let me know. If you know some awesome people who I should feature at the event, or if you want to collaborate on the event in April, also let me know. Thanks, y'all.
Next friend, come on up. And a reminder, all of this information shared in the follow-up email, so we got you.
Hey everybody, I'm Bill. I just wrote and directed a play that had a run at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. We had a sold-out run for 23 shows. It's called 3 Chickens Confront Existence. That title pretty much describes what it's about. 3 factory farm chickens awaiting their imminent trip to the broiler and exploring their existential dilemma in a tragicomic way. And we actually were invited as part of an encore series, and we brought the show to London just a little over a month ago and had a run at a we had a show at a beautiful theater, at West End Theater, and you can check in with us. We're hoping to do another show in New York. It's 3chickens.com. That's number 3chickens.com. Stay in touch. Thanks.
Next friend.
Hello, everybody. Hello. All right, sorry. This is amazing. Thank you so much for being here. You're awesome, and you are all awesome, and this place is awesome. I am going to now do a club because I know in these mad times, we all need support, community, connection, love, vulnerability, and to connect and get out and do what we're doing today just fills me. Ellie is amazing. I met her today for the first time. She is overqualified, creative, and looking for work, so I will have her information there later. I also met one woman real quick who was wearing a fur coat and let me rub against it, and I don't know who you are. You're a patron of the arts, and you're awesome too.
You can give it to Exa. I just want to say I applaud you all for being brave and coming on stage. And Exa, thank you for hosting. And before I'll let you go, I want to say a few thank yous. Without our incredible volunteer team, these events would not be as smooth as they are. Thank you, Abby, Alicia, Angelica, Anushka, Brian, Brianna, Daniel, Exa, Finn, Jordan, Katie, Kevin, Kirsten, Krista, Kristen, Lena, Leah, Lenny, Mary, Megan, Meredith, Ariana, Ricardo, Sissy, Sky, Sue, Whitney. Thank you all so much. And thanks to Nelson, you can see photos of yourself, how good you look. Nelson also runs the Photographers Club. You should join it. Thanks to Connie, you can watch the live stream and can watch the video again. They're the most reliable, loyal volunteers I think we've ever had. You can hire them. And then thanks to Abigail and Matthew, there's the live stream. Thank you so much, team backstage. And then Autumn, you're wonderful. And next month, we're going to be back at CUNY. We're going to have the incredibly talented, inspiring Spanish designer Pablo Del Con speak. And as always, I want to leave you with a quote. You need power only when you want to do something harmful. Otherwise, love is enough to get everything done. Charlie Chaplin. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, L'Alliance. See you next month.